Hi, friends. This is the second grade math lesson for Unit 2, Lesson 11. We are going to start learning about money, and I wanted to show you something that is on our Canvas page that you can use to practice with money. So, sometimes it's hard to find some coins around your house. So if you don't have any coins that you can use, you can go to our Math Manipulatives button. So, scroll down and click on this pink button. And once you click on it, it's going to take you to something that looks like this. And you can see we used the base 10 blocks earlier last week. There's other different manipulatives that you can use if you have any dice right here. But we are going to click on the coins. So if you click on the coins, there will be a little link that you can click on. And once you click that link, it'll open up something that looks like this. If you look right here, you can see the coins on the side. You can also use them as they can show up as base 10 blocks. I think this is a little confusing, but if you like that, you can. It would just look like that basically. But I prefer to show them just the coins, help me get to recognize them and whatnot. So let's get started. If I have 35 cents, 35 cents, okay? Now, how many tens are in 35? Here's my tens, right? So that's three tens. Sorry, my handwriting is not the best on this. And then right here is five ones, right? So 35 is made up of three tens and five ones. Now, if I had some dimes and some pennies in my pocket of 35 cents, how many dimes would I have? Whoops. I know that one dime is worth 10 cents. So here's one dime, two dimes, three dimes. So that would be 30 cents. Those are my three tens. And then how many pennies would I have for my ones? I would have one, two, three, four, and five, right? So three dimes and five pennies equals a total of 35 cents. Have you seen that cent sign before? It's like a C with a line through it. So that's called our cent sign. So we're going to start off by using our cent sign. Now, let's see what happens if I have the number 52 cents. Well, 52 has five tens, so that would be five dimes, right? And how many pennies? Two pennies. What if I had 73 cents? That would be seven dimes. See how it's just like 10 sticks and circles? So seven dimes and three pennies, right? So we're going to practice using coins, but sometimes our coins are going to get a little bit over 100. So let's start talking about the dollar. Here's my $1 bill. I want you to think, how many tens or dimes are in $1 bill? I'm not too sure. Let me ask you this. how many pennies are in one dime? I know a dime is worth 10. So if I had 5 pennies, that would be the same as what? One dime, right? So if I have 10 pennies, that equals one dime. So the question is, how many dimes are in $1? Why don't you take a minute and count by tens all the way to 100? Did you get 10 tens are in 100? I sure hope so. If you got 10 tens, that means that there are also 10 dimes in 100, or $1 rather. So now, if each of these dimes is worth 10 pennies, how many pennies are in $1? How many pennies are in $1? 100. I'll do a P for pennies. 100 pennies is the same as 10 dimes, which is also the same as $1. And if you look at boxes, sticks, and circles, one box is the same as 10 sticks, which is the same as 100 circles, right? So dimes and pennies and dollars are very, very similar to boxes, sticks, and circles. See why last week I was telling you it's so important to be able to draw your numbers? Okay, now let's talk about cent notation. So I just showed you 100 cents, right? So 100 pennies is also known as 100 cents, okay? But if you have 100 cents, then you also have $1. So instead of writing it with a cent sign in cent notation, you can also write it in what we call dollar notation. Okay, so dollar notation starts out with a dollar sign. So we have a dollar sign, and usually dollar signs have two lines in it. Sometimes you'll see them with an S in one line. Either way is fine. Okay, then you're going to put your dollar or your hundreds down. And you know that you have 0 tens and 0 ones. But if you look at this, doesn't this look like $100? But we need it to look like just $1. So in between your dollars and your cents, or your hundreds town and your tens town, you're going to put a little dot. And this dot's fancy name is a decimal point. Say that with me, decimal point. So we call this right here cent notation because it has a cent sign after it. And we call this right here dollar notation. Dollar notation starts with a dollar sign, and it has a decimal point between the dollars and the cents. So you're going to get lots of practice with that. We will practice more in this lesson, and we will practice in small groups. So now I want you to make sure that you have a whiteboard with you or a piece of paper. We're going to do some practice. So if I have the number 124 cents. Whoops. Go ahead and write 124 cents at the top of your paper or your whiteboard. Now what we're going to do is we are going to write it in dollar notation. So I want you to write an equal sign. Now remember, dollar sign or dollar notation always starts with a dollar sign. So go ahead and write an S with 1 or 2 lines through it. Now, if I look at the number 124, I know that my hundreds tab is just like my dollars. So I'm going to put my dollar right here. And then I remember that I have to put something to separate my dollars from my cents. Do you remember what it's called? It's called a decimal point. So it's a dot, kind of like a period, but it's called in math a decimal point. Now I can write 24. Okay. Now let's go ahead and make that with our coins. So here's what you are going to do on your whiteboard, or if you have this manipulatives, these coins up, you can just use these. But if you're going for the dollar sign, you're going to draw a rectangle with a 1 and a dollar sign, just like that. If you are going to use a dime, you're going to do a circle with a 10. And if you're going to use a penny, you're going to do a circle with a 1. So $1, here are your dimes that are 10 cents, and here are your ones that are 1 cent. Okay, now we're going to make $1.24. So on your whiteboard, first we're going to start off with our dollar. Now I need to make 24 cents. So I see my 2 right here in tens town. So here's 1 dime and 2 dimes. And now I need to make 4 pennies. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's what it would look like if you were using coins. If you were using these symbols, you would have your $1, your 10, another 10 for 2 dimes, and then you would have your pennies. So if you're drawing it and not using coins, it would look like this. If you're using coins, it would look like this. So what we're going to do is, in just a minute, I'm going to stop this video and start a new one. We're going to work in our math books on page 97. So when you're ready, go ahead and stop the video. And then you're going to grab your math book, page 97, a pencil, and then you're going to start the second video, part 2 of today's lesson.